what I was looking for. This is the Assassin update, and as I said, Talon looks really, really good. It was the one I was most excited about, and honestly, for what I can tell with his like parkour shit, this looks fucking amazing. Genuinely, this might be one of the coolest updates. We'll see. We'll see if it fulfills the like, well, the assassin role, obviously. Let's see. Oh, I guess I have to like, yeah, here we go. Okay, let's just read it over. Blade Sand Talon's a bit of wound champion and epic master for a short duration, stacking up 3 times. This is like an echo passive then. Basically have the bleed. Okay, so it's like an echo passive with a bleed instead of, well, movement speed and tons of damage and shit like that. Bleed is fine. Knocks into penalty, leaps to the target. Okay, so yeah, it's a jump. It's a jump attack kind of like Echo E. It's a bit suspicious. Just kidding. Leaps to target dealing physical damage. Cast melee range. Okay, oh, that's interesting. It's just that you crit if you're melee already. Kills an ultimate. Small amount of health, sure. And W looks similar. The cone is, I don't know if you can tell, but the cone is definitely smaller, so it's going to be more difficult for AoE damage in team fights. Interaction dealing physical damage and turning and attribute on the turn. Okay, so they don't slow on the out, they slow on the in, which is fine. What was this again? It was basic attacks, right? Yeah. Okay. And E is the coolest one. Okay, so you can't vault over the same terrain, but you can vault over different terrain, and it doesn't seem to cost that much mana either, which is incredible. This is so cool. So like, there are parts of the terrain that counts the same. Do you see the red part? That's what light up as the same terrain, and that's the terrain you can't pass over until it's presumably not red anymore. Let's see. It looks like a slower ultimate, fires ring of blades, increasing movement speed, making invisible a few seconds, merchant style blade conversion is location. Talon breaks the style basic attack, blades will convert. Yeah, no, this is the same. This is very similar. And this is, yeah, this is all very similar. I guess maybe W didn't slow on the way out before, but it was so quick before, so you couldn't really tell. No, this looks fine. This is obviously slower than before, but it's a bit more persistent, and I think his roaming is going to be incredible. His ganks are not going to be as good as before, because while E is a really fucking cool ability, I swear a lot, I'm sorry about that. His E is a very cool ability, it's not, well, I mean, his roam is going to be really good. The problem is just that it doesn't have any combat uses, right? So, while yes, the path from like mid to bot lane, it doesn't actually have many points to jump over, so you're not gonna roam quicker. But I guess you can kind of traverse the jungle much quicker. You're gonna be impossible to catch. And I mean, the ultimate W still help, and especially the bleed, depending on how much damage it does. I don't know the exact values, but the bleed might help secure kills, and if you coordinate with CC so you can get the crit on Q, you can still assassinate. He's definitely more of a single target assassination guy right now. Roaming a single target. Before he was obviously burst AoE. So, you know, like I said, I was excited about the Talon changes before, and I'm still excited because this looks very good still. Something that bothers me a little bit is LeBlanc, though. But before that, I guess you all want to see Zed. But killing an enemy with Deathmark, Zed permanently gains a portion of their attack damage. Permanently. What? Can I click this? Wait, they have no. They're gonna have to nerf him somehow. That would be. I mean, depending on the portion you get, that would be absolutely crazy. And the problem here is that you might start seeing Zed tanks if this is actually the case. You might start seeing Zed tanks because if you stack AD anyway, eventually, I don't think so, but it's very possible that Zed tank will be a thing again with Titanic Hydra and shit. It's 5% level 1. Wow. That is very interesting. Mini update discussion. as a passive that no longer as a passive that grants him bonus attack damage. Okay, no, that makes sense. Okay, this balances it out a little bit. But what's the percentage? What's the percentage? What's the percentage? Does anyone know what the percentage is on the death mark itself? Well, depending on the percentage, this change will not change that much on Zed, honestly. It'll definitely make him weaker mid-game. You didn't get that much from W, but you're not gonna get ultimate kills. I don't know. You're not gonna get about killing it with death marks. You have to first of all you have to actually kill them with death mark. 580 plus 5% of target's AD. Okay. Plus 5% of target's AD. Is it bonus AD? Or they're just their AD? Because that's a really big distinction. If it's just the AD, then this could be fine, but this puts a lot of pressure on Zed to not fall behind early game. Or mid-game rather, because you would take one level of W, that's 5% AD increase. Yeah, it's not that much, because you didn't have that much bonus AD at the start. This is actually well done, right? This is one of the best solutions, because what they said that made me worried at the start, when I saw them talking about nerfing Zed, was they wanted to tweak his laning, but this is like the most sophisticated way I've ever seen them of tweaking Zed. They've done it very clunkily before. This is really, really well done, actually. So kudos to whoever thought of this. If in like the end, because you're both emphasizing that Zed has to get strong mid game, which is, well, it's always been like that. You have to get strong. You have to roam mid game. You have to get strong mid game. You're putting a bit of pressure on killing the highest priority target in terms of AD, because otherwise you'll fall behind. This is inevitably probably a nerf, depending on the percentage, and depending on if it's bonus attack or not. It might be a nerf, but if it is, I think I can dig with this nerf, actually. Just because, I don't know, no one was maxing W before anyway, so you're not going to see a change in that. Obviously, maxing W is dead. It's never going to happen if this goes through, and obviously it's going to go through, and so, you know, I'm not too worked up about this, actually. I just want to see the actual values, but as of now, yeah, they're still emphasizing the same strength of Zed, and they're not making him clunkily weaker. It might probably be a nerf. I don't want to say before I see the values, but I could both see this being a nerf and a buff, but it's super hard to say before I see the actual stats. So, it does put a lot of pressure of killing the AD carry specifically, because you might be playing against a team with no other high AD targets, so essentially they're saying, yeah, kill the AD carry. And kill the AD carry with the ultimate, which might be a little bit clunky, actually, because then you have to ulti them, and you have to kill them with the ultimate, because you don't always kill someone with the splat of the ultimate. You usually kill them with the setup, and then you have the W burst or the spell damage burst. So we might see Black Cleaver into like attack speed. So yeah, you know, that's interesting. I just want to see the actual values before I say anything, before I give my verdict. So a shark gets bigger depending on how far each of the word is traveled. Yeah, that's okay. Q, W, and R are getting updates. Big, okay, that's a bit vague. Thinks short distance, leaving Twilight Shot. Oh wait, she leaves W when she ults? But you're not there anymore. You ulted away from it. Oh. No longer slows, but chronoback trigger parallel converges. Chronoback triggers parallel converges as Echo travels back through. Chronoback trigger. Okay, that's interesting. Oh, okay, yeah, that's interesting actually. I think this is still inevitably a nerf, but it might be a little bit of a buff to AP Echo, now that I think about it. Drops 3 Jack in the boxes, cause him to flee. Oh, that's cool. That's really cool actually. So let's talk about lethality. Wait, did they attack damage, lethality, out of combat movement speed, cooldown reduction? Against movement speed and blocks the next enemy basic attack. I don't know. I don't know about this. Oh, Maul is going away. What a shame. Sorcerer's Bane? Anti-engage? Attack damage, lethality. What is the lethality? Flat arm penetration has been changed to lethality. They're pretty much the same thing, but the bulk of lethality penetration scales with your opponent's level. Less snow. Oh, come on. This is what I was talking about with the armor penetration. This is a bad idea, honestly. You can't change Zed so that he has to snowball mid game and then take away flat armor penetration and replace it with something that goes across the entire game. If this, like, if you can't get them to, like, if it somehow scales with the enemy's level, honestly, this is just such. I'm gonna make a video about this, but this is such a big problem with theoretical League being applied practically. They said in their original post, and I can't quote exactly, but they essentially said, because of the nature of flat arm penetration, it's either very feast or famine. Either you get really far ahead, because you get ahead of the opponent's armor growth per level stats, and you get them to true damage, essentially, the flat arm penetration, or you fall really far behind and you don't get anything because there's a diminishing return. And that's just not true. Like, yeah, theoretically it's true, but in game, if you didn't snowball, and if you didn't fall behind, if you went even and got a Yomus, you're not at a situation where you're like, oh no, either I'm never gonna kill anyone because I'm behind their armor growth per level, or you're like instantly killing everything. That's just never the case, right? It was never the case. It was so many situations where you're even, where you have the chance to kill someone, but you're not specifically bursting everything. It's just, it's very problematic when you take theoretical League and apply it to such a vague thing, right? So I am not too happy about this. But I mean, it's hard to say exactly how it'll turn out, but you're essentially saying with Zed, right, Zed, you have to snowball early and mid-game, otherwise you're gonna fall way behind what you were before, and you weren't that good right now anyway. I'm not saying it's bad, but he wasn't that great right now. So if you fall way behind that as well, then, well, good luck. I mean, yeah, your current items would still have the same effect. But why does everything have to be the same? Why can't some items and some champions have spikes in different parts of the game? Like flat arm penetration was such a cool thing because you could decide between, or arm penetration, you could decide between Black Cleaver for the shred, Last Whisper for the bone percentage shred, like all the armor, or you could take the Last Whisper for the bonus armor, how much armor they bought, or you could take the flat for just when they didn't have very much, you could get them to true damage, right? But now it's like, oh, I guess it scales with levels, it's pretty good all the time. I don't know. Let's see, Duskblade has been changed too. Oh, nice, they took away the Night Shroud. Fantastic, I hated Night Shroud. After being unseen, your next basic attack deals bonus true damage. That's pretty cool. So, does that count? I mean, yeah, I guess their idea is like, okay, no, so you walk in brushes and stuff. That's pretty cool. Gain true sight when spotted by enemy warrior. That's really good. Talon's definitely gonna buy this fairly early. I think Yomus into Duskblade is gonna be Talon build. Or probably Duskblade into Yomus actually if you go CDR per level. Depends on this one then. Active spell shield? Wow. Cool. Well, this is the new Moth Memodius, I guess. You know, I can live with Moth Memodius being I can live with both emojis being removed as an assassin item if they give this alternative, because that was just something that helped so much for assassins before, more. But if it's being removed, I mean, this is a good compensation. The itemization is fine. Honestly, I'm not complaining about the itemization because this is clear choices. This is more damage, more consistency, and more dueling. This is roaming. This is against mages, right? And they all build out of this one. So no problem with that at all. I just don't like this idea of lethality because they're essentially saying that they want everything to be the same in a way, or similar spikes. I just don't like that idea. But honestly, overall, I guess it's fine. What will Zed build? I think Zed was gonna still build Yomas. I I don't know about that though. Actually, I think he'll do. He might do Duskblade into Black Cleaver. Depends on how much lethality it gives, because the reason why he built Yomas is because it had a really good build path and 20 flat arm penetration. Now, I don't know the nature of lethality that well, because they're not very specific about this. Scales with the opponent's level, so less snowbally, which is why would you? I don't know. You need snowballing. That's the point of it, right? So Rip said, no, not Rip said, but it's definitely much harder. Stealth champions are getting a fantastic update, and champions like Katarina seem to have gotten a really interesting update. I'm not too excited about LeBlanc. Her entire kit just seems more confusing than anything. So her passive, LeBlanc's abilities inflict signal of magic malice, her previous Q, which can be detonated and consumed by other abilities every few seconds. So every ability gives her Q essentially. Shatter Orb, fire an orb that damages an enemy. If the orb triggers Sigil of Malice, it shatters, consuming the Sigil. I'm sorry, I'm having issues talking, and dealing damage to the nearest available Sigil of Malice. So, yeah, right. So if you use anything, it gets a Sigil of Malice after a couple of seconds. This thing works like a Rise Q on a Rise E, or a Rise E on a Rise E. And W. Still the same, yeah. E. Relation change the direction, damaging and checkling the first target. Then take additional damage to become rooted. If the target remains shackled for a few months. Oh, I guess. Oh, wait, I guess, yeah, because it lasts afterwards, right? Does it? Strange. If the target remains shackled for a few months. So what, if it sticks afterwards? It doesn't look like that, but... Here is the confusing part, so... Up to the LeBlanc becomes invisible for a short duration, creating a mimic of to take her place and cast a stronger version of one of her basic abilities. So it's the same as before, except you become invisible and have a mimic do the same thing. Lasts only a few moments, and it expires if it takes damage from champion. Mimicking LeBlanc's ultimate spawns a mimic at a target location instead. Walk toward the nearest visible enemy champion, cause a non-damage condition. Okay. So... Right, so you can mimic your mimic, which is really confusing. Mimicking LeBlanc's ultimate, so if you click R, and then you click R again, you'll be mimicking your ultimate, which spawns a clone of yourself that walks to the nearest enemy champion and tries to, like, use a spell on them, presumably baiting them into using something flashing or something like that. So yeah, I mean, there's mind games, but from the get-go, without seeing in any of the stats, she does not look very strong. Just from the word go, it looks like it's very slow, it's going to get countered by any support, and I'm still not very excited about this update. But other than that, it's fine. I've said what I thought about the stealth mechanic. They have Camouflage, which is the long stealth, like Twitch and Rengar and Eve. and they can still be spotted by pink wards as far as I've seen. Let's see. We think of stun 2-way, yeah. Then champ to combine 2, can change style the strongest use map, same move 1. Visibility, counts tactical, don't last. Camper able to give power back to stall champions, so vision wards have been updated. Yeah, exactly. Control boards to grant their own vision, but they reveal and disable. Wait, so you can't actually see control words. Reveal and disable. So wait, do you actually see the camouflage? Because the way I understood is that pink words can still see the camouflage, right? Strange. Either way, I guess that's kind of it. But yeah, I think the idea is that you can see the camouflage, the long range stealth, but you can't actually see the invisibility. So invisibility champions are getting a big buff. Talon might not be getting a buff. I still think the old Talon is going to be more effective. This Talon is definitely going to be more fun to play, but probably not as good. But this Talon looks really awesome. I don't know. I've said what I thought about the lethality. I don't like it very much, and I don't like the implication with it. But it is what it is. We're gonna have to see the exact values of Z. The nerf is well made, but in combination with the assassin items, it's not well made. At least, I guess it's kind of hypocritical because I said that I don't like theoretical league, and then I'm saying, based on theory or theoretical league, what I think is gonna happen. But it's, yeah, it's what I assume is gonna happen. I guess we're gonna have to wait and see. In that case, thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time. Peace.